There is a phenomenon in the running world that feels like a cruel joke to me. It's called runger. You may know this. You go out for a run, a 10, 15 kilometer run, and you feel like a flippin' fitness god. But when that hour is up, there's a switch and it flips and you become this bottomless pit. You eat lunch and you're still hungry, and you snack and it's still not enough. But by the end of the day, you've eaten like 3,000 calories to replace what? Like 1,000 that you burned? Look, for years I thought that, look, this was the price of admission. I thought I run so I can eat. And I've said it many times. But recently, as I started analyzing my data for my upcoming half marathon in the spring, I've realized something kind of terrifying. I've been gaining body weight, fat, while training for a half marathon. It turns out that this hunger isn't a badge of honor. It's a metabolic warning sign. It means that I'm fueling wrong. I was running too fast. I was burning the energy the wrong way, the wrong system. Today I want to share with you how I fixed this runner's paradox: running, low heart rate training, and a plant-based approach. To understand why we binge eat, we have to look at how the human body fuels movement.
Donut. Donut.
We have two primary fuel tanks. We have the glycogen storage tank, that's sugar and carbs. Think of it like a small gas tank that you keep in the trunk of your car. It holds about 2,000 calories max, and it burns hot and it burns fast. And it's meant for emergencies like sprinting away from a flippin' bear. Or if you're like Usain Bolt and you want to like kick ass at 100 meters. And now number two is the fat tank, and this is the main fuel tank. Even on a very lean runner, this tank can hold like 50,000 to 100,000 calories, and it burns slow and steady, just like a log in a fire. But here's the problem. Most of us run in the gray zone 3, zone 4, and we run just hard enough that we can't talk comfortably. But when you do this, your body panics and it shuts off the fat tank and it starts draining the small sugar tank. And when that sugar tank gets low, your brain sends out this distress signal, and it's like critical fuel level, refill immediately. And this signal is the uncomfortable hunger that you feel. Your body is screaming for quick energy, sugar, carbs to refill that tiny little tank. But here is the magic of the Maffetone method, the maximum aerobic function way of training. When I keep my heart rate strictly in zone 2, I'm training my body to leave the sugar tank alone, and I'm teaching my mitochondria to suck fuel directly from my body fat. Since the fat tank is virtually unlimited, my brain never sends out the panic signal, and I finish my run and I'm just not that hungry, and I'm like, cool, I can do that again. And I just kind of go on for my day. Now the plant-powered protocol, how to eat, that's the way I kind of live my life. So how do I apply this plant-based running type of approach? Because let's be honest, having a vegan diet can be very high in carbohydrates if you aren't careful. So here's my 3-step approach for fat adaptation for being kind of vegan or plant-powered. Number 1 is fasting in the morning. I go for a run and I don't eat until like 2 o'clock. So this was the hardest change for me. I used to eat oatmeal before every run, and eating carbs spikes insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone, and it literally blocks my body from burning fat. If I ate a banana before a zone 2 run, I'm burning the banana, not my belly fat. And by running fasted, my insulin is lower and my body has to access fat storage. Step number 2 is no sugar during my run. And this was a hard one. So if I'm running slow, zone 2, I don't need sugar. Taking a gel or drinking my Tailwind will spike insulin. It stops the fat burning process. So what do is I drink water and electrolytes like Noon. It's a cool tablet form that has very low sugar. And that's it. Step 3 is the high protein post-run meal. And since I didn't drain my sugar tank, I don't need to carb load after the run. I focus on my satiety. So what do I have is protein. It's tofu or tempeh for muscle repair. Healthy fats like avocado, and I add some hemp seeds to keep me full. Fiber, like I eat lots of vegetables. And this meal helps my blood sugar become stable. I don't crash, I don't binge. But number 4 is the struggle. It's the ego, and this is a hard one. And I want to be real with you guys. This sounds great on paper, but in practice, it can be incredibly frustrating. So this is the ego part of the training. And to stay in the fat burning zone, I have to run slow. Slower than I wanted to sometimes. I have to walk up hills. And I get passed by people, or in my head, I'm perceiving I'm being passed by people, or people are looking out the windows judging me. It's a weird thing. I don't know why, it just is. And now if I get passed by people I know I could beat, it's embarrassing. Well, maybe for some people. Well, it is what it is. Now the nose breathing test is something that I've incorporated into my running. And this is my gauge. If I can't breathe strictly through my nose, I'm running too fast. I've switched to burning sugar. So I slow down, I check the ego at the door, and I remind myself I am not training for today's speed or today's result. I'm training my metabolism for race day. So here's the result. Since switching to this fat adapted approach, my cravings have vanished. I don't feel like I need a nap around 2 o'clock. And yes, the body composition is changing. If you're running to lose weight and getting frustrated, stop looking at your pace and start looking at your heart rate. Slow down, get lean, build that strong aerobic base, because it's gonna serve you well for when you're running your half marathon or a 10K or whatever it is that you're doing. I'm gonna be documenting every week of my training block leading up to my spring half marathon. So I'd like to share my results, my work, my weight, my race times, everything that I'm doing. And if this is actually something that kind of, works or kind of hits on anything that you're going through and you can relate, look, hit the like, subscribe, follow along. I like to bring you along on my crazy journey. Funny thing is, sometimes I find myself steering away from zone 2, deciding to run a little faster, just experimenting and doing things. And while that's fine and it's fun and it's entertaining and it's amusing, I kind of find myself always coming back to zone 2, coming back to the Maffetone method. It doesn't really matter to me. I know it works. And I find it very comforting to know that I can kind of come back to this approach, take it upon myself and start training slow and using this method to build my base back, to get faster. Look, my name is David and I've been using the Maffetone method on and off for years. I've run half marathons, even an ultra marathon, lots of 10Ks, and I've gotten 3 minutes faster per kilometer when I was really in great fitness by using slow running to get fast. I know what it takes. I know the process of what is kind of before me. So I know what to expect. And training using this method, it's not for the faint of heart, specifically when it gets cold. Because to be quite honest, I want to get my run in and I want to be done before I start to get cold. And I was out the other day and I was not prepared for the running that I was about to do in this cold weather. Didn't have the right jacket on. Felt like a beginner all over again. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? I mean, I don't know who opened up the door, but winter has been let in. Yeah, I'm not really dressed appropriately for this today. This is kind of a fail on my part. Oh my God. But I have to say, these new shoes that I'm running in, hell yeah, they're awesome. I needed to like dress for like the occasion because it was really cold. But I sucked it up and I just dealt with the wind. I dealt with the fact that my chest was freezing, my legs were numb, and I just got it done. And did I feel great at the end of it? Yeah. But for probably the majority of the run, it was not exactly, how do you say it, comforting? It was tough. Look, I know there are foods that will literally cause my insulin to spike. Eating a lot of bread, eating a lot of pasta, right? That's carbs. And that can make things really hard if you're trying to lose that excess body fat. I know for me, it's been hard because that's like comfort food. I love pizza, I love the carbs, I love toast, I love these things, right? It's like that comfort food. But if you remove it from the diet, things start changing on your body. Like I know for me, I've stopped consuming probably a good 60% of the carbs that I used to eat. And one thing I've noticed is my waist is shrinking because my jeans are fitting much more comfortably. Going to the gym and adding in that strength training has made a huge change into my physique, how I feel, how strong I am. Something else that I'd probably want to say to you is when you're training for a marathon, you need to make sure you're fueling your body. A half marathon, you're fueling your body. When you go out and run a 10K, 6 miles, you don't need to fuel really for that. I mean, really, that's something that you could use for weight loss. I mean, sure, yeah, I could go out and do 15K or 10 miles or whatever. And again, you could use that for weight loss. But if you're actually training for a race, you want to really dial in your nutrition because you want to make sure on race day that you can show up and you're in good shape to do that. So you may want to look at your training two different ways. One is, are you training your body to lose weight, or are you training your body to get the best you can out of your race, to be able to get to the finish line? And that's something that, you need to think about. Now, can you do both at the same time? Sure, I've done it, and it worked out really well for me. But everyone's different, everyone's got different goals, so you have to decide for yourself what it is that you're trying to achieve when you embark on, this whole journey that you're on. The runner's paradox is huge. You can gain weight by training for a marathon. You can gain weight by going out and running, thinking that you're losing weight, but you're not because you're in the wrong zone to be able to lose the weight. You're pulling from the wrong tank. I've been there, I've gone through that. I know what that's all about. And that's when things can get really frustrating for runners because they're like, I'm just gonna quit. What's the point? Or maybe I'm just gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna lift weights instead. Look, the number one thing you really have to understand and really dial in is you have to dial in your diet, because if you don't dial in your diet first, that is one of the things that will get you at the end. And it's not gonna be easy to be able to pull out of, or that'll be one of the hardest things to overcome. So maybe using MyFitnessPal, track the food that you eat, because if you track the food that you eat, then you'll be able to see what you're burning, what your output is, what your input is, and then you can make adjustments. Because sitting there in the evening and snacking on chips ain't gonna cut it. I don't care. You will never be able to outrun a bad diet. And that's something that I've learned from firsthand. It is what it is, I guess. Hopefully this video finds you well. The weather has changed where I am. We're now in full-on winter. It's cold. I'm bundled up, still wearing the hat, got the glasses. I don't know. It's been crazy the last little while, but doing what I can. Tomorrow is another run day, so that should be fun. Get out and do the thing I love. So like I always say, get out and run. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by and watching and listening to what the heck I gotta say. See ya.